In 2020, disinformation is everywhere, spread far and fast by social media, and gathering news is no longer only about correspondence on the ground. AFP is one of the world's top news agencies, with 1,700 journalists in more than 150 countries around the globe. Checking facts has always been part of our work, but it's no longer enough. With social media, checking what may not be true has also become central to what we do. False information around protests or wildfires in the United States or harmful false cures for COVID-19 has popped up almost simultaneously in different languages and different countries. But dealing with them requires a local response. 3 years ago, we started with one fact-checker in France. Now, we're the largest news fact-checking operation in the world.
When we start a story, we first discuss why and how we should tackle a false claim. We look at where it is being shared and what kind of impact it is having. Within minutes of the giant Beirut explosion in August 2020, we started to see false narratives about what had happened, often including fake images and videos. Some claims sought to serve political agendas in a volatile region in the absence of clear-cut answers before an official investigation. For example, there were altered videos claiming to show missiles in the sky or proof of rocket attack by neighboring Israel. By using verification tools, we were able to counter disinformation that compounded the devastating impact of the blast on Lebanese citizens who saw their city reduced to rubble.
False health claims can have deadly consequences, as we've seen during the coronavirus pandemic. Demand for our fact-check shot up during the pandemic. AFP's team, including a dedicated health fact-checker, published more than 600 COVID-19 related fact-checks in English alone in the first 6 months of 2020.
For one story, I worked with Paris to show that a video claiming to show a rally against coronavirus restrictions in South Korea was in fact an anti-government protest that took place weeks before the country reported its first case of the virus. The post first circulated in France, but it was also found in Australia, the US and Canada. Paris alerted me to the video, and I, having worked in Seoul previously, was able to identify several buildings and billboards within the clip. Through a combination of keyword searches and comparisons with Google Street View, we were able to identify the location of the video. We also found several local media reports about an anti-government protest that took place weeks before COVID-19 reached South Korea that showed the same advertising boards as seen in the misleading video.
People often ask us how we choose claims to investigate. We focus on posts that have the most impact, particularly if they have the potential for serious damage.
In one place, several thousand shares may be a lot. In another, it's not. Impact really depends on the context, and our fact checks often lead to corrections and sometimes apologies too. In Colombia, we investigated pictures that President Iván Duque gave to the United Nations as supposed proof that Colombian rebels were operating in Venezuela. The Colombian president also posted the pictures on his Twitter account. We found that some of them had actually been taken by an AFP photographer, but in Colombia, not Venezuela. The head of military intelligence resigned following the revelations.
AFP fact-checks are often attached to false or misleading stories on Facebook and Instagram. They are also highlighted on search engines, including Google. But there are many challenges to tackling online disinformation. In countries such as Nigeria, chat groups on encrypted platforms like WhatsApp widely propagate rumors and lies.
When Nigeria locked down its major cities in March to curtail the spread of COVID-19, we noticed that online scammers took advantage of the financial hardship suffered by many Nigerians as a result of the restriction. And one of the things we saw was that they circulated fraudulent messages claiming to offer cash relief on WhatsApp groups. They even included links to lure victims into revealing sensitive personal data. But when AFP Fact Check conducted a series of investigations on the messages, we found that the messages were a scam and no money was paid. So for this reason, we want to remind people to beware of messages labeled forwarded as received, as many of these turn out to be fake.
Conspiracy theories and imposter websites are multiplying. More people are losing trust in traditional sources of information. AFP is tackling these challenges on several fronts. We work with fact-checkers globally as part of the International Fact-Checking Network and collaborate with other media, researchers and platforms. Also, we're increasing training in verification, which is now an essential skill for journalists. And last but not least, providing the public with easy-to-use tips in our fact checks on how to spot false claims, making them our greatest ally in the fight against misinformation.